Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the first county council meeting of the year. Today is January 13th, 2026, and the time is now 5:04, and we are ready to start. And so we presently have all council members present except Councilor Hawk, and I'm not seeing her virtually just yet. So again, we have quorum, so we can go ahead and proceed. Before I do proceed, I do want to take a point of privilege because yet again, our county has lost another giant in the community. And so we lost Perry Township trustee Dan Combs, affectionately known as Cart. And it was an unexpected passing, and our community is better because of how he cared so much. And it's a huge loss for us right now. So I just want to have our colleagues and those that are present, whether it's virtually as well, to take a moment of silence to remember Mr. Combs. All right, thank you very much. All right, next up on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. So all those able to stand, please stand for the reciting of the Pledge of the Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. All right, next up is the adoption of tonight's agenda. Does anybody wish to amend tonight's agenda? Yes, Councilor Iverson.
Council, I move to amend the agenda by amending item 7C to acknowledgement of a resignation, amending item 7D to citizen appointment to a board to the Capital Improvement Board, and then renumber the remaining items accordingly.
Second.
All right, are there any other amendments to tonight's agenda? Okay. I got a note up here that, Molly, you have something? Okay.
I will be requesting an amendment to the hiring freeze resolution based on circumstances that I learned about today revolving around the court's law clerks. And so I amended it. I placed a draft on everyone, in front of everyone, and then I will display it once we get to.
Okay. All right, that works.
When will it show up on the agenda?
Put it under item number 12, council business.
Council business. Okay. Are there any other amendments to tonight's agenda? All right. So seeing none and still not seeing Councilor Hawk online, since we don't have anybody participating virtually, we can do this by voice vote. So all those in favor of approving tonight's agenda as amended signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. All right, next up, we will go to item 4, which is public comment. And so this is an opportunity for public to come to the lectern here in the Nat U Hill Room to speak on items that are not on the agenda. But if you are not present in the Nat U Hill Room and you are virtual, you can also raise your hand via Teams, and each person will state their name, and they'll have up to 3 minutes to make their comment for items not on the agenda. Looks like we got a friendly face here already. So take it away.
Thank you, Madam President. This is Christopher MG from the Greater Bloomington Chamber of Commerce. I want to wish everybody a happy new year as we work our way through the ins and outs of Monroe County government. Want to recognize this body's steward of Monroe County's long-term health. It kind of goes hand in hand with this little job, our 2026 legislative agenda that the Chamber brought out last Friday at our legislative preview. I guess it wasn't a preview per se, for the General Assembly's been at work, but we appreciate Council members Henry, Iverson, and Deckard in attendance for that well-received Hilton Garden and breakfast. But one thing that comes clear from our legislative priorities, that which we sort of receive things from, we receive surveys from our members, and then some things that are in there every year. But one thing that stands up is county growth is no longer optional, it's a fiscal necessity. Under Indiana's income tax structure, counties depend heavily on strength of their resident-based tax base. Attracting and retaining residents is essential to maintaining the revenue needed to support core services. Without growth, costs rise, and fiscal flexibility narrows. We're already talking about that crunch on personnel that Ms. Turner is going to amend. The reality is especially important as county discussions hang around this justice system planning. The business community supports a goal of a modern jail that improves safety and efficiency. At the same time, we recognize the council's responsibility to evaluate these investments through a disciplined fiscal lens. Long-term operating and staffing costs, overall affordability and debt capacity, sustainability without overburdening existing residents. So the growth in the tax base ultimately makes these investments viable over time. So the county growth, however, does not mean one size fits all. We get that. Our members constantly support sort of that balanced approach that respects the rural character and agriculture land of Monroe County. But the growth is aligned with infrastructure and service capacity. We know sewer is an issue, but I think with collaboration, we can solve that. And it reflects Monroe County's diverse sort of communities and economy here. The balance allows the council to plan responsibly while preserving what makes Monroe County distinctive. And across these issues, the chamber hears consistent themes from employers regarding specifically the CDO, but predictability matters, coordination matters, and fiscal realism matters. When the city and county work together on land use, housing strategy, utilities, major capital planning, outcomes improve, long-term risk is reduced. I want to thank all of you for your service and the opportunity to speak tonight. I do appreciate that. And I'm going to leave this agenda with Michelle.
Thank you very much for that. All right. Are there any other members of the public here and present in the Nat Hill room who wish to speak to items not on today's agenda? Again, you can come forward to the lectern here in the room, or you can raise your hand via Teams. And not seeing any more movement here, we will move forward. Thank you all for public comment. All right, next up is the department updates. And again, the department updates are where each department has up to 10 minutes to speak on items that are not on the agenda. And we got some movement here, and it looks like I see Mr. Jordan Miller, who is our jail financial manager, coming present. Hello, welcome.
Good afternoon, Council. Here to provide a quarterly update of our commissary fund. The balance as of October 1st, 2025 was $110,313.51. There was a total of $56,420.53 worth of receipts, $298.47 worth of interest, $47,235.97 in expenditures, resulting in a balance as of December 31st of $119,796.54. As you're aware, IC 36-8-10-21 provides a list of approved expenses, and once again, the top item of our expenditures would be the merchandise for resale, which was close to half. In total, it was $21,434.85. And as I've mentioned in past meetings, this would consist of things such as our Pepsi products, e-cigs, nicotine, things of that sort. So, any questions I might be able to answer?
Look into council and see if you have any questions. Seeing none. Oh, maybe. All right, Councilor Wills.
I was just wondering, and this might be for Mr. Gibbons, that if there was an update on the audit that was being performed?
We did begin the process late December. We're working hand in hand to complete the process. I've completed my own internal audit, kind of quite a lengthy spreadsheet of all the receipts and expenditures and things of that sort, but we are making progress, and we look to have additional information as soon as that takes place.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no other comments, we appreciate it. Thank you much,
Thank you so
Mr.
much.
Miller. All right, next up, I see Ms. Ferris coming present here. Hello, welcome.
Hello, Kylie Ferris, Monroe County Election Supervisor. I wanted to come and give a couple of updates. Candidate filing opened on January 7th, and the last day to file is going to be February 6th by noon. Also, annual CFA 4s are going to be due on January 21st, which is Wednesday next week, by noon as well. And then the voter registration office will be moving to a temporary location on February 9th, and then once the space that is downstairs in showers is completed, we will move down there. And then in addition, Clerk Brown had prepared a small statement just to prepare you guys for us coming to the council at the next meeting on February 27th. So the statement is, based on the clerk's and the office's evaluation, it is simply not possible to run the kind of election that Monroe County voters deserve with the amount of money that has been appropriated under the current proposed budget. Reducing the amount of money appropriated to our division will mean reduction in early voting hours, normal wait times will increase, number of polling locations will be cut, and an insufficient number of poll workers at each location. Additionally, the reduction in funding makes our elections more vulnerable to emergencies. With little to no breathing room in our budget, it will be impossible for us to make the security advancements that we believe are necessary to provide Monroe County voters with the elections possible that we deserve and are accustomed to. At its core, our concerns have to do with not providing the county's voters with a safe and secure election process that is both the county clerk and election division staff's goal. Thank you for your time, and if there are any other questions or concerns today, we would be happy to answer, but also we'll see you on the 27th as well.
Okay, and you mentioned February 27th, it's January.
January,
No,
yes.
I just want to make sure.
Yep,
Okay, just
January
wanna make
27th.
sure. Okay, yeah, because I know it was mentioned in some of the headlines that, council had taken some things away. And so I know it was repeatedly said during our council budget sessions that additional appropriations definitely could be had once the clerk makes that request to the council. So it sounds like the ball is rolling, and I appreciate that. And I saw a hand raised, and before I do, I see Councilor Hawk is live and in the building, and her Hoosier Red. Welcome.
I am happy to be here. You cannot imagine.
Okay, well, we are happy to see you. Welcome. Councilor Henry.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to be clear in what I heard. I appreciate you delivering the message, you are the messenger here, not the person speaking. So did I hear correctly that the January 27th, the clerk will be here to ask for that appropriation, or to?
I will be coming.
Oh, you'll be coming to ask for the appropriation? Well, that's outstanding. I look forward to having that conversation when you come back.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Okay. All right. Yes, Councilor Wiltz.
You said you were moving to a temporary location until the bottom floor of showers is complete.
Yep.
Looks like it's moving quickly, but
It is
it's
moving
not
very
quite ready
quickly.
for y'all.
Yep.
Is the temporary location in showers?
Yes.
Just
so
upstairs?
The temporary location is Suite 203, so it's going to be on the other end of the upstairs hallway where TSD is. And then that'll be the temporary location that we're moved to, and then once downstairs is completed, which we're thinking voter registration won't move until June.
I do have a question.
So,
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Did you?
It's okay.
Sure. Okay, I'll come back. Councilor Hawk, and then I'll come back to Councilor
I
Wiltz.
apologize for being tardy, but I do have a question.
Yeah.
When I go in to sign up and to turn in my reports and so forth, this move is immediate?
No, so we will still be in the current voter registration building until after candidate filing. We will move the Monday after the deadline.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, of
Thank
course.
you so much.
Now I look back to Councilor Wiltz.
No, I think that my questions about the statement that you read can wait until you come back, because I do have questions about that, but we'll
That, and then I'm always open to emails, so if you guys have any
Appreciate that.
questions between then and now, that way I can get a head start to get answers for you guys.
Counselor Decker.
I also look forward to you coming back, but I also want to thank your folks who have the patience of Job in taking all of the public's questions, including public that might be seeking office, and you all do a tremendous job with that and answer a lot of questions with smiles. So thanks for all that, and then managing us.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. All right, are there any other departments that are present here in the room or via Teams that would like to give updates on items that are not on today's agenda? Going once. Going twice. All right, moving on. Thank you all so much for your updates. Next up is the consent agenda items.
Council, I move to approve the following consent agenda items for January 13th. A, the Health Department's request in Fund 8111-9623 Crisis Coag Support Workforce for the creation of account line 18001 full-time self-insurance, and simultaneously approve a category transfer of $184,174 from the services category to the personnel category. B, the Highway Department's request in Fund 1176-0000 Motor Vehicle Highway for the creation of account line 20700 Supply Maintenance Repair Equipment and 24207 Supply Maintenance Repair Building/Grounds, and simultaneously approve a category transfer of $25,000 from the services category to the supplies category. C, the Highway Department's request in Fund 1176-0000 Motor Vehicle Highway for the creation of account line 38010 Service Maintenance/Repair Equipment of $120,000 from the supplies category to the services category. D, the County Council summary minutes of September 23rd, 2025 County Council meeting, September 30th, 2025 County Council special session meeting, October the 8th, 2025 County Council special session meeting, October 14th, 2025 County Council meeting, October 28th, 2025 County Council meeting, November 10th, 2025 County Council meeting, November 18th, 2025 County Council meeting, December 9th, 2025 County Council meeting, December 16th, 2025 County Council meeting.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second on our consent agenda items as presented. Is there any questions or comments from council on these items? Yes, Councilor Wiltz.
I have a question about our minutes, and just in general about the minutes, so not really impacting my vote on approving this, but I did see an email about a change maybe in the protocol for producing the minutes for us. Do you know what? I'm looking at Ms. Shell because I think it was a copy of an email that was about who is involved in the process, and I was never certain exactly, since we moved away from the verbatim minutes, how these are produced.
So the auditor's office starts the process, creates the minutes, and then we have a process now where when she's done with those, she lets us know, and then LEHUA in the office will check those. I'll give it one final check, and then they're good to go, kind of thing. So there's like 3 sets of eyes that will be on the minutes checking that kind of stuff.
Have we ever had any issues with accuracy in the minutes? In general, no pointing fingers, just, I mean, 3 sets of eyes on this. I'm just looking to save people time if you're overworked, and so I just kind of want to know, is that really necessary? That's where I'm headed, to have that many eyes on it.
We're starting a new thing where it's, there is a, and I can't, it's called tracking changes. So that whoever is beginning the minutes, then we'll see what's going on. So for the first couple of sets of minutes. We're going to do that where I'm checking them, but then along with Lehua, but then after that, it's one person's going to check, one person's going to review, and then we're done. So
Okay. So
there'll be two sets of eyes, but right now we've got 3.
And it looks like you might have some.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, yeah, in the past, the council administrative assistant would create the minutes, and then either the chief deputy or the council assistant's counterpart, the commissioner's assistant, would review. Because of the added layers, we cut out that second layer of review in my office. I just don't think it's necessary, just to save some time and energy. From my perspective, on the outside looking in, of course, because I'm not doing those minutes myself, it seems like a lot of the changes have just been like preferential. And so, I mean, however the council wishes to have their minutes, that's absolutely fine, but we'll do that initial and then pass it on to your office to make those adjustments as you like. Okay. All right.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, Council Hawk.
Yes, back before we had the meetings recorded, and we can look at what the written word is saying there. I think that's important that we keep that. And also, not too long ago, the minutes were kept, and it was up to the office or whoever was putting it together to put in comments that they thought was important, which I think is ridiculous because it's what we're saying, not what they think. It's just I'm saying. So I'm glad they don't do that anymore. It should be either it's going to be verbatim or it's going to be this is what the motion said, and not what well, this person thought this and that person thought that. And you put it all in there, in which I don't know if there's room for that. So I'm glad to see that's no longer. And that was a lot of pressure as well on the person trying to put the minutes together. How, you know, so I thank you.
I will also say that the recordings are available to the public, so and that the transcript is also available to the public on that recording through Teams. So there is a verbatim portion. Now, for as long as for like accuracy on that, you know that it's not going to be, because sometimes they'll call me, you say Miss Shell, and my name becomes Michelle. So, you know, kind of thing. So, but there is a transcript available as well, so.
Yeah, and I think we all have to remember, like, that's a whole lot of minutes, like a bulk of our packet was a lot of the minutes. And in my 8 to 5 time frame, there is the office that I work in, we primarily deal a lot with that, and minutes should just really primarily be about motions and actions that have been taken, and really not into the weeds of who said what about what and how, when, or where, because that gets really kind of sticky, and y'all are not transcribing the meeting. So that's for people who want to take a look at what county government looked like 20 years from now if they decide to go back and look. All right, but much appreciation to everybody that had a lot to do with the meeting minutes as well. Yes, Councilor Hawk.
Right, regarding the transfer in the health department, and so it says remaining balance available is 0, but, and it says the fund cash balance, but it doesn't say which fund balance they're talking about. But what I'm seeing here is the self-insurance new account line, that is going to be moved to, it appears it's going to be moving to a grant fund. Is that correct? And so all of this statement, oh, we can't move self-insurance into grant funds, well, duh, right there, it tells us something, because they can be.
Ms. Gregory.
If I may, it depends on the grant and, you know, specifically what the award is allowed to be used for. So it appears in this case it is an acceptable expense.
Moving on, is there any other questions or comments from anybody related to tonight's consent agenda items as presented? All right, and seeing none, since we got everybody present, all those in favor of approving our consent agenda items as presented signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Thank you. Next up is item number 7. Oh, that's me. Oh, hey, yeah. That's me. Every year, we do this thing called reorganization, where state statute requires us to appoint and approve council president and pro tem at the first meeting of every year. And so now we open up the floor here for nominations for president. Yes, Councilor Iverson.
Madam President, this county has been through a lot in the previous year, and so I move that Jennifer Crossley remain as president of the Monroe County Council.
Second.
Okay. All right, we got a motion and a second.
Sorry, who seconded?
Councilor Hawk.
Marty Hawk. Okay, thank you.
All right, we got a motion and a second. I guess I'd have to accept the nomination first. So yes, I accept the nomination. Thank you very much.
Great.
All right. I know, right? I appreciate that. Yes, as we have definitely discussed, we have been through a lot, but I'm a glutton for punishment, and I continue to volunteer myself to the Tribune. I thought last year was not going to be nobody thought 2025 would turn out the way that it did, but it just kept, each month just kept saying, hold my beer. So I am willing to continue to lead with our council members here, and I look forward to continuing to work with my county council members, all 6 of you, as we continue to move forward with the United Front, because we got a lot of stuff coming our way. As we've seen. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Anybody else has any other questions or comments? Yes, Councilor Henry.
Thank you, Madam President, and I'm glad that I'll have another year of saying Madam President down the line. We all know that not every Hollywood sequel is great, but may this be like The Godfather Part 2. Maybe that is intentional to say it that way, but I'm glad you'll be in the driver's seat for the year to come. Thank you.
My name is Jennifer Crossley, and I approve that message. All right. Anybody else have any questions or comments? All right. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call on the presidency for 2026?
Councilor Deckard?
Yes.
Councilor Feidel?
Yes.
Councilor Wiltz?
Yes.
Councilor Henry? Councilor Hawk?
Yes.
Councilor Crossley?
Yeah. Yes.
Councilor Iverson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
All right. Thank you all very much for trusting me with all of this. All right. Next up is item B, and that's where we elect our President Pro Tem of 2026, same as before. So I'll look to see if there's any nominations from the floor here. I'll take a point of privilege here. I will make a motion as we continue to keep with the continuity of council leadership for the year. I would like to nominate our current president pro tem, Peter Iverson, to the same job he has.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. What say you?
Thank you so much for your faith in my golden voice. I pledge to continue to read what I have to read with interest. And I'm really looking forward to the coming year to tackling challenges with you, Madam President. I know we went through a lot last year, and I have a lot of confidence and optimism that we will do very well this year. So thank you for your confidence in me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Any other questions or comments for Councilor Iverson? Yes, Councilor Wiltz.
I appreciate both of you being willing to serve in our leadership for another year. I think it just bears repeating that it's been a lot, and I've been in that seat. I've been in both those seats, and it's it's more challenging by the year. So I'm enthusiastically supporting you both and offering unsolicited advice to exercise some self-care in the realm of how much you take on and lean on us as needed.
Hear, hear.
All right. Any other questions or comments for Counselor Iverson? All right. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Fidel,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes?
Counselor Henry,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
All right. Your 2026 leadership of President and Pro Tem is approved. Thank you very much, y'all. All right. Next up is item C here. And it looks like that we have, as a reminder to the public, we have, oops, let me go back. We have an acknowledgement of a citizen appointment resignation, which is Mr. Galen Cassidy from the Food and Beverage Tax Commission, Food and Beverage Tax Commission. So that is received. Is there any objections from council on this resignation? All right. Seeing none, we have received that. Also, along that same tone here, we did have Mr. Galen Cassidy apply to be our appointee, the council appointee for the Capital Improvement Board. He would be completing the 2-year term that expires next year, January 1st, 2027. Because as you know, our former council member, Jeff McKim, who had that position, resigned to take on new position that he has. So, wanted to express that. Okay. And we just rolling through all of this, right? Yep.
Yeah, I need a vote.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
On the appointment to the Capital Improvement Board.
Okay, so we technically need to make a motion because there was no motion that was made. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, Councilor Iverson.
Council, I move to approve the appointment of Galen Cassidy to the Capital Improvement Board for the completion of a 2-year term that expires on January 1st, 2027.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. And I'm not certain, I don't want to put him on the spot. I know he was online a little bit ago, but Mr. Cassidy, if you would like to come off of mute, and if you want to, no pressure. If you want to come off of mute and say something about this motion that was made, now is the time to do so.
Yeah, I'm happy to. Thank you for the time and consideration. I just want to say that I'm honored to be a part of this if you choose to go this path, and I've been very excited about this project from the get-go, leading this BEAD advisory group, and I look forward to continue to help and advise in this project the best I can from my perspective as a small business owner in the downtown Bloomington.
Thank you very much. All right, is there any other questions or comments on this from council? Yes, Councilor Decker.
I just want to thank Mr. Cassidy for his prior service and this service. And one thing I want to say is the amazing thing about this board, the Capital Improvements Board, is they truly are moving like lightning on that project. And I can remember times in this council when our discussions and frustration on the convention center issues that we were having were to a proportion that everyone sort of wrung their hands and said, how in the world will this ever happen? But that Capital Improvement Board and the collaboration between all parties, and I can recall those days vividly, has got us to this moment, so much that I believe this, for this particular seat, this is the third person in about 2 years, but it's not a signal that things are going bad. It's just that they're doing the work and people step off for other things. This this is a model, friends, on how I think it can go. And I appreciate very much that board's diligence on that. There's really nothing stopping them. And that might give us hope for a few other things we've got in our minds these days.
All right, thank you. Councilor Hawk?
Yes, I appreciate your willingness to move forward with this and stay with us and use the experience you've already received on the Food and Beverage Commission. Just as a reminder, there's a lot going on at the state right now having to do with expanded opportunities for tourism and having to do with the innkeeper's tax and the food and beverage tax and so forth. And so there's a lot that we have to continue to watch to see if there's opportunities for us to learn from others and do better for ourselves. But happy to see that we have people who love the downtown and who wants tourism to do well. So, because we need downtown to be successful so that the county can be successful. And so it reflects well that we have downtown businesses that want to participate.
Councilor Henry?
Yeah, thank you, Madam President, and thank you, Mr. Cassidy, for stepping into the role in the CIB. You're filling several sets of big shoes between Mr. Spoonmore and Mr. McKim that precede you. And I agree with my fellow councilors' statements on the vitality of that board. As this council's member on the the Visitors Commission for the county, the CVC, we're in the phase now where we're booking for that facility now. So when folks in the community see the steel going up, we're already booking ahead to when we finally open those doors and those 1,000+ conferences come to Bloomington, which is exciting. So having you there now that we've moved through a get the thing going phase, and with Mr. McKim's fiscal acumen getting us to shovels on the ground, and now with your eyes as a small business owner in the community of the bookings to come, I appreciate your service. So thank you for signing up for it.
All right, yes, and thank you very much for all the work that you will continue to do. All right, without any other further questions or comments from council on this, Michelle, can we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Feidel?
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Motion is approved, unanimous, 7-0.
All right, thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Cassidy. And with his resignation from the Food and Beverage Tax Commission, there is now a vacancy that we will have. So those that are interested, please go to our county's website and apply. Yes, Councilor Wiltz.
I think this particular position on the Food and Beverage Tax Advisory Commission is, it has to be someone who is a restaurateur, and maybe Molly could clarify that.
Mr. Cassidy was fulfilling one of the 3 spots that are filled by owners of retail facilities that sell food or beverages subject to the county fab tax. So his replacement would have to also meet those qualifications.
Okay. So if you're listening or watching, and if you meet those requirements, definitely apply. Okay. All right. Next up, we have the current county council vacancies for boards and commissions. And just as a reminder, we have the ones for the Sophia Travis Grant Committee. Again, that is a 2-year term. And again, if you are interested in applying for those vacancies, service is definitely something that we would love to do or have you do. You can go to www.in.gov/county/Monroe, and you can click on community and click on board and commission page. And on that page, you should be able to click apply and apply for those vacancies. All right, next up, we have item D, which is the reappointments of the various boards and commissions.
Thank you. Council, I move to approve the following citizen reappointments. To the Alcoholic Beverage Commission, Anthony Satili, one-year term, expires December 31st, 2026. Board of Zoning Appeals, Skip Daly, a four-year term, expiring January 1st, 2030. The Library Board of Trustees, Jennifer Whitley, a four-year term, expiring January 31st, 2030. The Redevelopment Commission, Cullen McCarty, a one-year term, expires January 1st, 2027. Also to the Redevelopment Commission, Iris Kiesling, a one-year term, expiring January 1st, 2027. To the Traffic Commission, Reed Adams, a two-year term, expiring December 31st, 2027. And two appointments to the Women's Commission, Tiana Eriuli, a two-year term, expiring January 1st, 2028. And Juliet Hardesty, a two-year term, expiring January 1st, 2028.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second for all of those. Any questions or comments from council related to the board and commission? Yes.
Apologies to any mispronunciations of names. I apologize.
It's okay. It's all right. I learned that last night. All right. Any other questions or comments from council? Again, want to take the point of privilege to thank those that are continuing to serve the community and those that will continue to do so. Without that or any other further questions or comments, seeing none. And we usually don't have public comment on appointments. Okay, because I see it listed here. So I will go ahead and have a roll call vote on the reappointments.
Counselor Henry,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk, Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Feidel,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz.
Yes.
Motion is approved unanimous, 7-0.
All right, thank you very much. Yes,
Can
Council.
I ask a question about the current vacant council boards or commissions for citizen members up above where it talks about the Capital Improvement Board? Kate and I were just kind of wondering when we approved Galen Cassidy, whether that still should be on there, right?
No, that's Ms. Turner King.
Originally, the agenda had the appointment of Mr. Cassidy, but we had to remove it, and then I discussed with him, and so we added it back. And so when we removed it, we put on the agenda appointment to the Capital Improvement Board. But with the appointment of Mr. Cassidy to the Capital Improvement Board, there is no longer a vacancy on that board. It does create a vacancy on FabTech.
Right. That's where I was saying that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments before we move on? All right. So this is the part last year where we really got stuck, and the agenda was going so fast until we got to this point, and so we as liaisons to various departments and to the various boards and commissions of the county. I think we've done a really good job this year, and I appreciate all of my council colleagues for stepping up and doing that. I know some of y'all had some really daunting tasks and did a lot of hard work, and I appreciate all of that. So I would like to take this a different direction. So instead of going through and kind of doing roll call on who wants to do what, is there any objections to anybody staying with their current liaison assignments? And some people kind of want to move around. Yes, Councilor Wiltz.
First, I do not have an objection to any of my appointments. Thank you. Second, I would again just offer that perhaps the president and president pro tem think about whether or not they should offload a spot from their duties. Just a suggestion, not that I'm angling to get anything or anything like that. I just know how busy you are.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that. Yes, Councilor Decker.
I am, not that I don't enjoy this service, but I think Counselor Feidel, who has done some pinch hitting for me with the BEDC, let me say it long ways for the public, Bloomington Economic Development Corporation's membership, liaisonship, I would recommend that I come off that and she go on.
I'm happy to do that.
So it seems like for 2026, we will have Counselor Fidel step in for the BD membership. Okay. Counselor Hawk, does I see your hand go up over here?
I mean, if for some reason there would be a council member that later would decide they would like to be moved or relieved of one department or the other, we could do that without taking 3 hours, just like we did last year.
That is exactly, that's what we're
That's why
trying.
you're sitting there being president again this year.
We don't want to do that again. We want to go home and get ready for next week in Miami, or in my case, the Bears. All right. Yes.
I would just say, the approach of kind of keeping it how it is really pleases me, and the reason being is because we're not in normal budgetary times, and a familiar face in a department is not the worst thing among things that are not feeling the best. And I think until we get to the other side of whatever this is, that would be it's probably the wisest course for now.
Okay. All right. So again, this isn't something that's set in stone right now, but as Councilor Hawken mentioned, if we, the only change it looks like we'll do currently is from Decker to Fidel for the BED membership. And of course, if any of us find that we need to make some changes, we can do so at future meetings. Yes, Councilor Hawk.
Right. I would just like to use this time as a reminder that any one of us can call any department head and ask for questions to be answered, and they should show each of us the same kind of respect as they would their liaison, because we should not, any of us, have to wait until someone else has a time to ask a question, and our question might be more relevant just to what we need to know. So.
Okay, agreed. Thank you very much for that. All right. Yes, Councilor Henry.
Thank you, Madam President. So do we just need an amendment to adopt the 2025 list as amended for 2026, or is that required?
I don't think we do. We just, yep. Mm-hmm. All right. So that was easy. All right. Moving on to the next item.
I can't believe how fast that went. Knock on wood. Yep. Council, I move to open for discussion and possible approval of the Highway Department's request. Oh my goodness.
They're hiring them way too young.
To be exempt from the hiring freeze and be allowed to hire in Fund 1176-0000 Motor Vehicle Highway a mechanic position.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second, and I see a future council member in the making with Ms. Ridge. Hello, welcome.
This is not the mechanic.
Hi.
So, good evening. So I know we're under a hiring freeze, but we did have a mechanic give their notice at the beginning of the year. His last day is this Friday. So with having 134 pieces of active equipment between trucks and dump trucks, grade-all, sweepers, excavators, skid steers, vac trucks, we need to get that second mechanic. We have one master mechanic and then 2 regular mechanics. So we're just here, I'm here to request to post that position.
All right, thank you for that. Any questions or comments from council? To my left here. To my right. Yes, Councilor Hawk.
Yes, as a reminder, this position is paid for out of the highway's revenue, and as long as their revenue covers and they know how to watch their budget, it is quite different from the hiring freeze that we have on the other budgets. It just is.
Thank you for that reminder. All right. Anybody else have any questions or comments for Ms. Ridge? Seeing none, we will move to public comment. If you have public comment on this item, you can come forward to the lectern here, or you can raise your hand via Teams. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Feidel?
Yes.
Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for coming. All right, next up is our new business.
Council, I move to approve the jail/correctional center's request to amend the following in the 2026 salary ordinance. First, in Fund 1170-0380, Public Safety Lit Jail, in account line 17101 overtime, the range of $40.93 to $65 hourly. Account line 17801 part-time, the range is $14 to $30 hourly. And in the second fund, Fund 1000-0380, County General Jail, in account line 17101 overtime with a range of $40.93 to $65 hourly.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. We have Mr. Miller here along with our jail commander. Welcome.
Hello again. Yes, as you can see, this is kind of a housekeeping item. We've got 3 different accounts in the salary ordinance that we're interested in increasing the max range to, starting with our part-time hourly. Historically, part-time correction officers are earning the same hourly base rate as our new full-time, and this year, of course, that increased to $27.29. As you can see, we also added a little bit higher than that amount with the potential for future increases and theoretically not having to come do this each and every year. That one also kind of turned into the others needing to be adjusted as well with these increased rates. The overtime lines for both our Public Safety Lit Fund as well as our County General Fund are in need of some changes to account for the potential max pay in each of those. The difference from the Public Safety Lit Fund to the County General Fund is a matter of the Public Safety Lit Fund only houses COs, the correction officers, and the County General Fund contains sergeants, which of course have a higher base rate, and these as well have a little bit higher, a little bit of a cushion for the potential for future increases.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Miller from council? Seeing none, okay. Self-explanatory, all right. If there is public comment on this item, you can come forward to the lectern here in the Night Hill room, or you can raise your hand via Teams. And as I stall so that we can have Michelle come. Yeah.
I can do the roll call.
Okay. All right. May we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Feidel?
Yes.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay. Thank you very much. Next up, item B.
Council, I move to approve the request to amend the following in the 2026 salary ordinance. First, in Fund 1000-0380, County General Jail, and remove the following account lines: 16031, Captain at 41.25 hours, jail cap exempt. In line 16032, Captain at 41.25 hours, jail cap exempt. And finally, in line 1603, Captain at 41.25 hours, jail cap exempt. And in the second fund, Fund 1233-0000, Correctional Lit, add the following account lines: 16031, Captain at 41.25 hours, jail cap exempt. 16032, Captain, 41.25 jail cap exempt. 16033, Captain, 41.25 hours, jail cap exempt.
Second.
Okay. And this one is looking to Michelle for this one.
Yes, Jordan contacted me and let me know that the salary ordinance didn't match the budgets. We had made those corrections, and that was just one of, we had moved those 3 positions from general fund into that correctional lit. I missed putting that into the salary ordinance correctly. So this is just to correct what council approved budget-wise. So that's what, so we just need to make those two things match.
Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, okay. All right, Counselor Wiltz.
Yes, you have under the county general, the remaining balance available. It's in red in parentheses, which usually indicates an issue.
That comes from the auditor's office, and that's probably when, you know, we hadn't updated, there's that rollover. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, it's not something to be freaking out about. Okay.
No, when we.
It's one we're removing lines from anyway, but
Yeah.
okay.
When we move 1 year budget into another year, some lines look negative
I
because
was hoping
we're-
this was the answer. I
Yes.
just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, so
Thank
we're
you.
kind of in that crossover right now
Okay.
until they get their annual report done, so.
So yes, until we finish the annual financial report, which is due end of February, we have 2 accounting periods open, which makes things kind of hairy sometimes for reporting.
Got it, thank you.
Any other questions or comments on this item from council? Counselor Hawk.
Yes, I would like to say that on this agenda and in the packet, it should have said something about that, so when the public was looking at it, they would not think that we were that far in the red. So I just think it needs to be very transparent to the public and for us.
All right. And looking around for final questions or comments from council. And seeing none, we'll move on to public comment. If there's public comment on this item, you can raise your hand via Teams, or you can come forward to the lectern here and then at U Hill Room. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Fidel,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes.
Counselor Henry,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
All right, thank you very much, we appreciate it. All right, next up, we have county council business, because we don't have any presentations or discussions, and so that was amended to add the hiring freeze for Ms. Turner King.
Read a motion.
I don't think so. Do we need to?
I think it might be easier for me to explain it and then a motion to amend if you agree.
Okay, all right, so you can go ahead.
So this afternoon, a question came about regarding the court's law clerks. And I did some digging into how law clerks, I'm going to say employed by the county, but kind of maybe not employed is the best word. So the courts, each judge has the opportunity to select a law clerk. And I use select because there's not a job description and there's no application process. What happens is if there is a law student who wants to serve as a law clerk for the judge, they email court services and expresses their interest. That email gets forwarded to all of the judges, and then if a judge likes that candidate or student, they select them. So the law students, interns, they're paid through the court's part-time line. They are submitted. New employee paperwork is submitted to employee services. These individuals, some are paid, some are not. If they are paid, they're capped at 10 hours per week, and they're paid at the lowest part-time rate. For the individuals who do not receive pay, they typically receive credit hours through the law school. And how much they work really varies depending on what the judge has them research. So some weeks they might hit their 10-hour cap, and then it might go another month before they do anything. And so it's more of an internship, but we pay them through payroll. And so there was a conversation of how does this quasi-employee intern position relate to the hiring freeze, given the fact that the judges just select these individuals. And so I'm going to share my screen. What I did was prepare a proposed amendment to the already
in place hiring freeze resolution that would exempt the judges from having to go through the hiring freeze process to select their law clerks. So what I'm displaying is, it says Resolution 2025-42. I did not get a new resolution number for 2026 because this document is so fluid that if I get it, I think it would be confusing to get a 2026 number. So what I did was I'm just now calling them A, B, and C. And so this is 2025-42A. And it adds the language in red, which reads, in addition to the above exempted positions, the Monroe County judges may select law clerk interns who are paid as part-time employees and whose hours are capped at 10 hours per week as an exemption to the hiring freeze. The Monroe County judges may select law clerks without seeking permission from the council pursuant to this amended resolution. And then on the last page, I added the potential date of amendment. That's the only changes.
Okay. Thank you for that, Ms. King. Is there any other questions or comments from council? We'll go to Councilor Iverson first, and then I'll come to Councilor Vital next.
I support this. This seems very rational and well thought out. My only question to any of you is, are there any other positions like this where we have interns, fellows, or other IU students, Ivy Tech students, or anybody else who are on payroll?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they are. I think this one just came up because the students are scheduled to start on Thursday to meet law school requirements. And so it was just one of those things that came about this afternoon, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are other interns in the same situation.
Okay.
Councilor Friedel.
So I have two questions. One is, so what's in red now and your addition about the red date on the end makes sense. Will that stay red for the permanent record so people can see that that's what was changed on that date?
It can. We usually don't, but I don't think, given how fluid this document has been, I think it might be easier to track if we have the versions in red.
Yeah, thank you. And then also, when I see the language, I wondered if there was any finite number, or is this unlimited number that we would be approving here?
From what I got from court services is it varies by semester. They really don't, it just depends on the number of students that reach out to them and them being the court. So I think it varies by court and by semester.
Okay. So there's certainly sounds like a past practice of doing this, right? Yes.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Councilor Wilt.
So I need a compelling argument to exempt these positions, but not other part-time positions. And what is that argument?
I don't think these positions are similar to other part-time employees, given the limited work schedule that they have, and that, I mean, a judge just, the third body of government just picks these individuals. And unlike other part-time positions, there's no application, there's no job description, it's just a judge picks them.
I was just going to say, do they have some sort of arrangement with the law school to make that happen?
Some of them do,
Yeah.
if they're getting credit hours, and for the individuals who are getting paid, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm happy to inquire with the courts.
Councilor Henry.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. I appreciate that question, Councilor Wiltz, because, okay, they're still drawing a monetary paycheck of some kind from the county. That's why we're asking for the exemption here. So now I'm wondering, and I appreciate that there's some independence there from the Board of Judges, but they're still pulling a paycheck from the coffers of the county. So I also agree with Councilor Wiltz on this, because seasonal employment of part-time nature and compensation I'm having a hard time understanding the difference between that and an election poll worker or a parks worker for the summer. If they're getting paid by the county, they're getting paid by the county. I also, I guess, if this is an issue of expediency, is that really, so Ms. Turner King, is that the question? Because it's a 16-week, semester, and the clerks are, they're overlapping with their academic year, and by the time, if we play this out, by the time we have a request for hiring freeze, lifting the hiring freeze on these positions, are 2 to 4 weeks into their 16-week semester? Is that what we're talking about? Is it a duration issue?
I think it does typically go by semester.
And summer is 3 months too, I suppose. But 3 months. Let me follow up question. When are clerks? Do we know when they're interviewed and offered employment?
I do not.
Because I'm presuming they were that process occurs before the first day of showing up on the job for the semester, right? Like there must be a month or two of selection or something going on, like any other hiring. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Okay. Thank you, Madam President.
I'll go to Councilor Huck and then Councilor Wiltz. I'll circle back to.
Yes, can you tell me, is this the payments made under the unappropriated fund? Or from what fund are they paid?
The general fund? Or part-time. Under part-time.
Okay, so it's just a part of their part-time.
Yeah.
And how do we know that part-time number is what you're referring to as being the lowest paid? What is the lowest paid? And
in talking to the courts, I think it's $14 an hour, and it's just historically how they've always paid them at the lower end of that part-time.
okay, and as a reminder, in everything we're doing with the courts this year, we have to recognize that next year we're not going to have one of those courts, so we need to be cutting back on the expense of that court that we'll no longer have.
Councilor Wiltz.
So presumably, you mentioned that some of these positions are doing it for credit through the law school, and I can't. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like to me that would imply that there is some sort of memorandum of understanding at the very least between the law school and the Board of Judges. And I'm all for that type of professional development. I certainly don't want to cross, something that's put in place formally like that. I don't have any problem with those that are doing it for credit. I think that's great. I guess I would encourage the Board of Judges, not understanding much else about it, I would encourage them to think about not paying for this type of position, allowing them to do it for credit, expanding that agreement if one exists, and maybe it's something that the law school is willing to fund on their end if they want that type of experience for their students as well. But I'm still missing that compelling argument part that I was looking for.
Yes.
I just want to clarify, the courts have one part-time hourly line. It is in the general fund. The range is from $14 to $17. So that's the range rate for their part-time hourly.
I guess the other question that I have for this, since Ms. Turner King had mentioned, we don't know what else is out there that is like this. Is there any way that we could try to do an audit of some sort to just kind of figure out what else, putting our crystal ball in front of us, what else this could also, something like this could also be the same thing, if that makes sense?
I'm happy to send an email to department heads to ask if there are paid intern positions that we don't know about. I'm sure if there are, they're being paid through payroll, and I don't know if payroll has the capability to run some type of report, because I think they would just come up as part-time employees. So unless they knew like the name of the person, so I think the easiest way is to send a department head email.
Okay, and then I'm gonna look at Ms. Gregory, because is there something that you might have on your end?
I think Ms. Turner King covered it. I was just going to recommend that we talk with Employee Services to see if they have this information at their fingertips.
Got it. Okay, all right, I appreciate that, thank you. Counselor Decker.
One of the worries I have on this a little bit is sometimes when credit hours are involved with individuals, that is a very premeditated process where someone says, I'll do this then, or I need to do this then in order to meet whatever goals, academic or individual or otherwise. And I'm a little worried that our timing here on some of these individuals disrupts that on maybe a thing that's not been thought through. But I'm also, on a flip side, a little bit worried that it also disrupts our system. So, because I think that they're drawing from this research, the judges are drawing from this research, et cetera. So I guess, what's our timing look like for what we have to do tonight or not do? Because it doesn't sound like council's heading towards keeping that language in that resolution, unless I'm hearing this wrong.
I believe one was scheduled to start on Thursday, and then a second law clerk was starting next week.
This is, the timeliness goes beyond the resolution. It's how do these things happen? Thursday and a second one next week. There's just 2 law clerks?
I mean, there are 9 judges, so presumably you could have 9 or multiple in a court. I just know of the 2 that we received paperwork on today to start Thursday and next week.
Okay. All right.
Counselor
When
Will?
you say received paperwork on, were they requesting an exemption to the hiring?
No, they submitted it to Employee Services.
And
But
then,
we've had a hiring freeze for months.
right, and so it was submitted to Employee Services. And then they reached out to me saying, was there anything sent from, approved by council from the courts? And I went through my stuff and no, there wasn't. So then that's why we're here tonight, because there wasn't anything, and they've got people starting. That's what I'm trying to find.
So we potentially have 2 that are in the pike, but then we also have more that potentially could be coming.
Or are already in place, because if they're on what is considered like I think I remember Molly saying something, maybe it's like a 2-year kind of thing. So the paperwork that was submitted is the first day of employment for this one person is January 15th, so that's Thursday. Say what? Yeah. Courts. And then,
They done it in previous academic years, the same thing.
The courts have always had law clerks.
that's the only one I have on file. I don't know anything about one for next week, so they haven't submitted paperwork that I can access.
Yes, Counselor Henry.
Thank you. I didn't think we'd have this kind of heartburn this evening, but here we are. I want to echo Counselor Decker's sentiment about this. When we start talking credit hours and students that have come to the county in good faith to seek out a position and do work for the county, as they understand it, we were talking about human beings here at the end of a process that our decision tonight either delays their start and shortens their work, and potentially it sounds like there's others in the pipeline coming on board into the county. So there's that end of this. On the other end of this, the resolution that we've amended now several times is starting to take on that camel feeling, the horse designed by committee where we keep adding things to it. And I really think this is a message for department heads that I'm speaking about right now. Part of the reason why I do believe we did return council leadership as is we faced a very hard last year and we're facing an increasingly harder fiscal climate moving ahead. The way that we've conducted business in the county is changing, and we can either adapt to it or decline. And that is what's before us when it comes to our revenue. It's before us when it comes to our tax rates. And so if it is business as usual for departments to say, well, they meant a hiring freeze, but there's always an exception. We have this special thing going on. We'll get around to letting you know. This is changing. And so to put before us this evening to fix a problem that we had been communicating to the county department heads for months, that we meant a hiring freeze, and then we find variables keep getting thrown at us. There's seasonal, and there's exempt, and there's now this. This is going to break at some point, and so I guess where I'm at, not necessarily to, maybe to answer Councilor Deckard's comment, I'm not necessarily against voting for this evening, but because there are humans at the end of the line that didn't ask to be caught up in the grist bill here. But we cannot continue just the yes but approach to the hiring freeze. And we are debating over a $14 an hour position right now. But if this is the first meeting of the year and here we go, this is going to be a very long year of us wrestling with every last whatabout that comes before here. But times are changing. There is absolutely no way our budget process is going to happen the same as it did last year with forecasts and revenue and projections and what's going on at the State House right now. So I want to fix this for the people caught in the mill here, but the Board of Judges must understand that the hiring freeze process applies to their third branch of government too, and we need to work through that. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, Councilor Friedel.
So I think that would be my question is what didn't the Board of Judges understand about them not being a part of that, right?
I don't think they think these are employees. It's more of an intern. And our resolution, I think, says employees.
I see. So it's a category issue.
If they're unpaid interns, this isn't a problem. If they're doing it for credit, this isn't a problem. But if they're being paid by the county, they're employees, and it's a problem. I'm sorry, that's sort of where I land. And I am sorry that there was a misunderstanding.
Yeah, I can certainly see it opening up a whole can of worms from here on out.
Councilor Hawk.
Yes, I have concern that departments might think because they have budgeted under part-time that they can just go ahead and hire part-time people because they've got a line item that says part-time and this is where we're going to pay them. But that's just not the way this is going to work. If we're going to do the hiring freeze, we have to recognize that all those lines that we did approve, we could approve all of those positions, and if that position becomes vacant, that doesn't mean we're going to fill that slot. And so I think we have to be cognizant of what the department heads might perceive this to be, and rightfully so. I understand that. They've not had to face something like this with us before, and we have to just do this together.
Neither have I. Or we haven't either. So, and that's what we're trying to go through right now. So, okay. Yes, Councilor Friedel.
So one more question maybe. What might it be that the judges might not be able to do if they don't have these clerks helping them?
I think, and I'm going to speak from experience in the past, typically your law clerks will help research motions to suppress or unique legal situations when either the prosecutor or the public defender brings up a nuanced argument. And so typically law clerks will draft memos so that judges can rule on those motions.
And then who might be doing that work instead if this doesn't get passed?
I guess I don't know the answer to that because for all the time that I've been an attorney, there's a law clerk doing it. So I don't know the answer.
So, because we have a couple of individuals that are stuck in the matrix of all of this, could we, unbeknownst to them, I guess, could we try to make amends to something like this and then freeze everything else until they can abide by? I'm just trying to think of like a solution here, since we got a couple of people, since it's been mentioned that we have a couple of people that are stuck in the crosshairs and thought that they were starting in the next week or so. Councilor Decker.
So for instance, if Councilor Deckard were to offer a motion that the council approve these two law clerk positions in discussion to move forward with our approval and hold off on resolution language, could that at least move that forward, having been the council's now discussed and debated it?
Wait, do we even have a motion on the floor?
No.
No, because we opened it up as a discussion.
Yeah.
So,
I'd offer that one.
I'll second that one.
And let's move this forward and figure out the rest.
So we're on discussion now for that, right?
well, because there was now a motion
motion and a
to
second.
figure out or to move these two individuals through, and then Counselor Iverson seconded.
Right.
Of information, could you state
Yes.
the action, what's the
Yeah, I
motion?
think we need to restate. So Counselor Deckard, if you want to restate your motion.
Madam President, I move that the two law clerks in our discussion this evening be given the approval of the county council for movement in county service for this spring with the courts.
Counselor Henry, does that
Yeah, that's clear.
clear? Okay, thank you. And I saw again, Counselor Iverson seconded. Yes, Counselor Fayon.
So, okay, so it seems to me like with the language originally, and even now, it seems to me like there could be more in the pipeline that we don't know about. Am I making that assumption probably? So what do we do then when we have those, right?
Come back.
Come back? Okay.
Ms. Turner King, were you about to say something to that? But it was just, okay. All right. Counselor Wiltz.
I appreciate that my colleagues are trying to protect the innocent bystanders caught in the fray here. But I think it's bizarre that we would approve positions with no submission or request to do so from the department, and I'm not going to support that. So just letting you know where I'm coming from.
All right, Counselor Henry.
Thank you. And I guess we are talking about the motion, but I guess on that point, and maybe another way to think about it would be to amend the resolution before us to put a date on the exemption to the hiring freeze. So if we, for example, said something like, in the red language here, whose hours are capped at 10 hours per week as an exemption to the hiring freeze through January 30th, which would give 2 weeks to catch these two people. But otherwise, I see where Councilor Wiltz is coming from in terms of making a motion without a request from the department. I also would like the Board of Judges to sit here and make their request for the hiring freeze for the positions they would like to bring on for the rest of the semester, which is more our custom. But so I appreciate the strong effort by Councilor Deckard and Iverson here, but it might just be as easy as amending the resolution to a date on these two, and then encouraging the Board of Judges to come in to explain their rationale for this as a line item in our next meeting. That's a thought on this. Thank you.
So,
I haven't made a motion.
okay. Okay. Anybody else have any questions or comments on that? Counselor Deckard, Counselor Deckard made the motion, but Counselor Henry, since it's what we are talking about here, and it does have something somewhat to do with the motion. So are you saying by changing the language in red and putting that date, that would still, that allows the two individuals to come through still?
I think it's an idea. It's another way to go with the document before us, because that's the discussion point, is the resolution, and not, I guess, trying to approve a appropriation without a request. Does that make sense? And so it's more of a technical comment on that at this point.
Councilor Hawk?
Yes, I see that council members Wilson, Fidel are the liaisons for the courts. And did they discuss this with you at all?
I've not heard anything.
Well, I think that's rather egregious, but then I think that's because they don't understand the hiring freeze.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious that they don't, yeah.
Okay, so we got the motion on the floor.
Can we repeat it one more time? I'm sorry.
I have that Councilor Deckard made a motion to approve the amendment of Resolution 2025-42A, the temporary hiring freeze, to include the exemption of 2 law clerks for the spring semester.
I was just, if I can clarify, I was just saying, just this council sitting here absent the resolution just says we're going to approve those 2 positions and kind of leave it alone so that maybe liaisons can go figure out other things and perhaps we revisit this. But if it's just about these 2, at least right now, and I bet my mortgage that's not completely the case, but for now we know of 2, I think piecemeal, I'm just saying 2 in my motion.
So does the motion then keep the red language or not? I'm confused.
Motion doesn't.
Nothing to do with
It has nothing to do with it.
Independent of the red language.
This or scrap paper.
So technically, the motion could be voted on, and then it sounds like potentially, maybe Councilor Henry could have a possible amendment to the language that was presented by Ms. Turner King to kind of coincide with that. Am I? Yeah. Okay. All right, so any further discussion on, or any clarification on the motion as presented?
So will there be further language or not? I can't tell.
So this is just to approve the 2 individuals that are stuck in the matrix
Okay,
right now.
thank you.
And then after that, if anybody would like to, then we can make that motion to amend the language that Ms. Turner King presented to reflect what we as a council would like to see moving
Gotcha.
forward.
Thank you.
All right. So no other further discussion on this. If we have any public comment on this particular item, you can come forward to the lectern here in the Night U Hill Room or raise your hand via Teams. All right, and seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Councilor Iverson?
Yes.
Councilor Wiltz?
No.
Councilor Hawk?
No?
Councilor Crossley?
Yes.
Councilor Fidel?
Yes.
Councilor Henry?
Yes.
Councilor Deckard?
Yes.
Motion passes majority 5-2.
Okay.
Madam
Thank you.
President, I'd like to offer a motion to amend Resolution 2025-42. Okay, the motion is to, in the language added by Ms. Turner King in Section 1 of hiring new employees, the sentence that reads, in addition to the above exempted positions, the Monroe County judges may select law clerk interns who are paid as part-time employees and whose hours are capped at 10 hours per week as an exemption to the hiring freeze, to add the language through January 31st, 2026 to the sentence, and to strike the last sentence of that red line addition as an amendment to the resolution.
Second.
Okay. And is that something, Ms. Turner King, that we can see presented on the screen? And Counselor Henry, is that what you?
Yeah, that would be it. I mean, this is in good faith to hopefully cap the two. If I find out they rammed 8 through between now and the 31st, I guess we'll have that conversation. But I would very much encourage our colleagues to come before us and really walk through this. It's very important that we maintain consistency. So this is just to cap the resolution as is, to put a date on the freeze through basically 2 weeks to let these, in the resolution, allow that to go through.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, Counselor Fido.
So when earlier on I asked about a finite number, and I still don't see a finite number here. I'm not sure how that fixes any of that.
We can add 2. I would accept an amendment to actually say the 2, yeah, up to higher up. So, I'm sorry, we're cross-talking, but would you want, I would offer, if you have a friendly amendment to limit the number of clerks.
I don't know if I have the amendment, I have the issue. So I think where it says, in fact, I think it ought to say something about the fact that the ones that are in the pipeline, but not put that way, you know what I mean? The ones that are going to be starting, the 2 that we know are going to be starting, right? Something about that.
How's that?
Okay.
Sure, yes, I would accept that friendly amendment if offered.
Okay.
Or I would offer that amendment.
Okay, so is that clear then? The beginning of it goes along with the last part of it? I know the last part of it wraps it up the way I'm thinking, but still the first part of it to me says they can still do this. You see what I'm saying?
There, yeah. This may seem like a hammer, but I think it just needs to be clear that this is it.
Okay. Yes, Counselor Decker.
But my question is, Council, before we go down this route, are we sure this is it? And the reason I say that is, if you think about it, counties that have a law school in them are not plentiful. So we actually have resources here where these folks help ease our court system. I mean, we're all the time here talking about diversions and anything that keeps people out. I worry that we may be the only county that's saying for labor that's, at least until they get those degrees, it's costing us a little bit less. I'm a little bit worried about saying it's it, and then tomorrow morning, 8 judges are gonna say,
Right.
oh no, you just shut us down. We'll have court reporters that picket out there. I've recalled law clerks in those offices since I was a kid in those offices. So I'm worried that I don't know that this language gets us where we're going. I'm also a little bit worried that we're gonna have to figure out whatever is not out there beyond the 2 anyway, which we just said, let's go with those 2 and then figure out the rest. I just am worried. Sometimes we do things and then we have to deal with it later. We obviously are dealing with things with the budget that we had to deal with last year and we'll deal with again later. I just get a little bit worried on this one, and that we're gonna be back here anyway on this.
Right, I believe that.
Yeah, we definitely will be back on this, but what I think what we're trying to get at is just moving these 2 along and trying to get the Board of Judges to come back to talk to us like everybody else in a higher end freeze to, to state their case with this. And we for sure will be back with this. And then, of course, the 2 liaisons could be working with the Board of Judges, since it sounds like there was a misunderstanding of if they were originally a part of this exempt status to begin with.
So, So I just wanted to say, I wonder what will happen. So if we put it through the 21st, what happens if however many judges there are left that still need to do this, they're all their stuff in now by the 21st? Does that mean they're all in too?
31st. They've got till the 31st.
Oh, why did I write down the 21st?
Yeah, she's got the 31st on their screen.
Okay, well, that's even more time. So, so now it seems to me like we have judges then can go between now and the 31st to get however many they need to get where they need to have them, right?
Right, and I mean, the process that we have in place right now is if they make a request, it is put on the next agenda. So if they make a request now, it'll be put on the January 27th agenda.
Which begs the question, I mean, I don't know. I'm not in favor of this, but may I speak? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I
And
got
then
tired.
I got you, and then I got Councilor Henry. So I'll go Wiltz, Henry, and then back to Deckard.
Apologize. Obviously, this is not something I'm gonna go with. I'm not sure how much it's helping. Yes, it will allow somebody to just start next week. We would be putting that off a week, perhaps, if they're coming back on the 21st. 7th, sorry. So that's maybe, I don't know, a week and a half. But, I mean, presumably, what we want them to, I mean, to your point, they're coming back. Something's coming back. This doesn't solve it all. Let's have them come back with what we want them to do, which is request, and tell us why this has to be this way. And
So what you're saying is, if I hear you correctly, is regardless of the fact, like, we're making them come back, so the two that are in here will be on hold until the 27th.
yeah, I mean, that's the default, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Councilor Henry.
Thank you. I don't want to belabor it. I mean, the design of what I'm proposing just functionally is it does compel that someone needs to come here, right? And while there may be possibly hires between the moment we vote and the 27th, we just need them in the room. This just reminds me of helping my dad clean out his garage. He has like this old sausage, this mill, and I should just bring it here and put it here. We are making the sausage alive here this evening, but there's an outcome that I'm after here, and I think we all have heard it. I mean, we definitely need to have this conversation. If this is what it takes to get folks in the room to say, here's our plan, we have 12 interns or whatever, we've got this budget. I think to Councilor Hawk's point, I think it's clear that while we have had this resolution for months, it's just not sinking into department heads what it really means, and this is why we have that variable. So again, seems like a hammer, but at the same time, the 27th is just a few weeks away.
Yep. 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, that's it. And hopefully between the 27th and the 31st, we've got an answer if there are people coming in the pipeline. That's it.
On the agenda tonight.
I'll go to Deckard next.
Yeah, so when I'm looking at the resolution, and my eyes are straining just a little bit, but when I look at the resolution, this resolution basically codifies what we just did on the 2, right? And so, because for a second I was looking at it and I was thinking, is this saying 2 per judge, or is it just saying those 2 that we just did, plus we want you to come back here? Right? Am I reading that right? Or is it literally saying the 2 that we've already approved, you can do, and then we want you to come back here? Because I don't know that we need to even say the 2. I think maybe we just need to say, judges, we tonight said you can do 2 because we understand there's a situation with Thursday and Tuesday. We want you to come back here and talk to us about it. And maybe that's what we're looking for, because I can't tell if this is saying the traditional 2 clerks per judge. If that's what it is, I may be wrong on that. Or what is this saying? Because they're going to ask that same thing.
I think if I understand it, the intent is to limit it to the 2 that your motion addressed, and that's it.
And we passed that motion. Okay.
So basically, this is just saying, this is the 2, this is it, through the 31st, and then this is also pushing Board of Judges to come back on the 27th. Yes, Councilor Wiltz.
Is there an appetite to just table it? Table this amendment? You already passed the thing for these 2, right? If we just tabled this, they can't. I mean, I think we've made it pretty clear, and if not, Liz and I can follow up with them and make sure that they understand that, hey, yeah, you gotta ask.
At the risk of analogies, I mean, these are the two that got out the two that got out of the barn we caught and we just blessed, right? I don't know how many more are coming. And
yeah.
so if without it, I mean, the hiring freeze is an instrument of our body, right? So this is the only thing we've got to say stop, all right? So without it, again, barn analogy, there could be other horses on the way out that we don't know about. So let's hope that's not the case. But if we're back here in 2 weeks and it's shucks, we hired 6 more, but will you let us? I mean, we didn't tell them no. We just said these 2 were fine because we know about them. We're not stopping the pipeline. They could still be interviewing as we speak. Do we know that? We don't know that 100%, right? I thought we know of 2. Are we 100% sure there's no one else that's been interviewed, offered?
No, we don't.
No, or no, we don't know.
We don't know.
Don't know.
Okay, so there you have it.
Council Friday.
Also, with the date of January 31st, it seems to me like I said, that they would have time to get their act together and get even more in by January 31st. I don't think this prevents that.
So by tabling, just getting clarification, because we've had somebody inquire about tabling this, even though that's like spent all this time now talking about it. What does this do for us if that were to be the case?
Counselor Deckard, not theoretically, in practicality, Counselor Deckard's motion allows for the hiring of the 2 law clerks that we know about. What would happen if they're trying to do more law clerks is exactly what happened this time. Employee services would receive paperwork and we would all know about it.
And they would not complete the paperwork because they know about the hiring freeze.
Yeah, employee services would notify presumably Kim and I, and then we can say, oh wait, we talked about this.
But why do we
make them bring it back?
So tabling this, and what we did previously would basically say the 2 are good to go, but if employee services gets anything else from the Board of Judges for any positions that are paid interns via law clerk, that will flag something that will kick into what we already have implemented to begin with.
We would tell them
with the
to
hiring
hold on.
freeze.
Yeah.
And then that would kickstart them to come back to the meeting, potentially here on the 27th, should that happen in between that time.
So
got it.
I still have a question about the language about the date, which is January 31st. Does that date still stay there?
I mean, that was, I believe, what Mr. Henry stated. If we're going to move forward with the possible amendment to the resolution, or you could amend the date.
Okay, so if we for sure know, if we are okay with this, since we've spent a lot of time in talking about this, I would recommend if we hear, and this is correct, since the issue is from council members, is that we are trying to prevent more things to come or more things to happen without approval of council due to us enacting the hiring freeze, then I would say that then why don't we table this discussion? Let's just table this, and then that will allow the 2 liaisons to work with them to figure out some things, and then it sounds like potentially a strong possibility that they will be coming on the 27th to talk about anything else, because it sounds like they will probably have more law clerks that will be coming. Does anybody have any objections to that or any questions?
So move to table till next meeting, which is January 27th.
Yes. Okay.
Another statement? And to,
One second, I'm sorry, Councilor Hawk. So Councilor Wilt had motioned to table until January 27th. I didn't hear a second.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so we got a motion and a second to table until the 27th. Yes, now Councilor Hawk, sorry.
Well, if we've got a motion table, I'm not sure we're supposed to discuss it. I just want to make sure that we send out a direct message to all the department heads
Remember.
Stop it.
Yeah, remember.
Right. Now, get that sent out no later than tomorrow morning.
I think we did.
I would agree. And I think along the line of this, it would be nice to work with employee services to try to do some kind of pulling of numbers to see who else could be in this type of position so we don't have a 12-hour surprise, so to speak. So we got the motion and a second to table this discussion until January 27th, 2026, which is our next meeting. Is there any further discussion from council on that motion?
I hate to beat it to death, but I just want to make sure that are we leaving the red language in or out?
This is just tabling.
It
And
won't
so
be, we're
this
not
won't
voting
even
on that.
happen.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right.
Just wanna
So motion and second, further questions, comments from the peanut gallery? All right. Any public comment on this item, come forward to the lectern here in the Nat U Hill Room or raise your hand via Teams. All right, and seeing none, we can do this by voice vote. So all those in favor of tabling this discussion until January 27th, which is our next meeting, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Abstain.
All right, we got okay.
I need a signature page for that, is
So
what
we-
I'm saying.
So we got a majority aye, and then we have one abstention. Okay. All right, motion carries. All right, so next up on the agenda, we are at the end, and we have council liaison updates and comments. So I'm just gonna start down here with the lady in red. Councilor Hawk, if you had anything to add? I feel like you do.
Yeah, it sort of goes like Hoosiers. I'm sorry, but that's why I have to say that.
That's your official comment?
That's my official comment. And you know what that means? That means money coming into
Oh, yes,
the-
it does.
You believe it, it means money for Monroe County.
Absolutely. Agreed. Councilor Henry, what say you? How do you follow that?
I don't. I mean, just Happy New Year, everybody. I mean, I want to start with maybe more of a sober thing and then just maybe a light thing. So, Happy New Year. This past week was National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day in the United States on January 9th. I want to thank our local law enforcement and our partners in public safety for the good work they do. There are good cops out there, and we need to honor that when we can. Of course, the other part of that is, when we have challenges in our nation that we have to pay attention to when cops aren't so great. We had an officer-involved shooting in Minneapolis that made national attention, and many in our community had bear witness on that for Renee Good on the square over the past weekend. And I think as we go into this year, we're dealing with the good and bad. We have to make sure that we can balance those two ideas at the same time and not paint with the broadest brushes that we do in this year. So I'm hopeful that we can keep that nuance and celebrate those that do hard work in public service and hold those accountable that have not done so in our nation and in our state. So there's that sobering thought. And I guess this is somewhat sobering too, but not really, because I appreciate Councilor Crossley starting with honoring Carp Combs. Dan was trying really hard over the last quarter to come in and talk to us about his extensive work in the township in support of the victims of the tornado last spring, and we just couldn't get him in here to read that report out. There was always something, and and I will admit, maybe Dan and I had more than a passing interest in meteorology in this community, and I feel compelled to take up his torch on that issue. Our townships, especially as we're watching the State House move to eliminate them, Dan's was not only the trustee in terms of his exemplary service over 40 years in this community, but was in a lot of ways the first responder for so many people in Perry Township. The fact that I woke up Sunday morning and there was no Dan Combs weather report on my social media about the snow, I knew he was really gone, and that was crushing. But that's the sad part about Carp. The fun stuff is what people need to know. He was a prolific texter. This guy would text at 2 in the morning about whatever was on his mind. The last things we talked about were emergency management and things that aren't appropriate for this microphone. And I want to share at least 2 world according to Carp-isms, because I just got to get this into the record somewhere. Carp once told me that all he ever wanted was academic honors, to do noble deeds, and to live in a girls' dorm, which he managed the latter for 4 months when he was a student at IU. That is Carp Combs in a nutshell. He told me when I took the interest in running for county council that 6 months on the county council and your time as chairman of the Democratic Party will feel like the golden days. You signed up to say no. And I don't know if I've done that enough for Dan's satisfaction. And when it comes to public policy, he would say, here we must take the bull by the tail and face the wet of an ugly situation. And he would say on all these issues, I think, in his, as he said, undercover hippiness, rise up, citizens, and in the words of his generation, eat the meatball. And I'm going to miss every last minute of that stuff. Levi was telling me, his son, that as they're going through his stuff, that they found a story that he wrote about when he first ran for office. He approached Pat Williams, the chairwoman of the party at the time, and said, I've got these two things about my background. I'm a leftist, and I had a pot. I was arrested for possession. And so Pat met with the Republican chair at the time, and I don't know if Marty, you remember who the chair was when who was 1986. And Pat brought the story to the opposite side and said, well, we're going to run Combs for trustee. And they said, well, we know about his pot conviction and we know about him being a leftist. And Pat said, of course, who also passed last year, Pat Williams, told the Republicans, and that's why we're running him. And of course, he won that race by, I believe, only 14 votes, or something very small, and then stayed put ever since. So thank you for letting me indulge on this a minute or two. A good friend. I'm going to miss him greatly, but thank you.
Thank you for that. All right. Going on down the line, Councilor Decker.
Hard to follow that on Dan Combs, a legend, and we will miss him so greatly. I told a couple of students this story. I'll be really quick. One time, he and I had some words over an issue, and I'll never forget his response to me when I was just saying, but Dan, did you think about this? He said, all right, you've got your job, and I've got mine. And it sounded like a Western movie. And I was like, I don't have a 6-gun. There's nothing I can do. Don't be mad at me, Dan. This community's lost some legends in the last months. And it just, and sometimes in those moments, you can really get down on it and think about, who's going to do those things? But I think we all have to kind of figure, first we have to look at our fading eye vision and know that it's probably us moving into some of those roles to try to fill those shoes. But also we just have to figure out the right things to do and do them. One thing I wanted to mention here is Councilor Wiltz and I had a meeting with our friends in Care Not Cages, who are here more often than most elected officials. And one of the things that was really refreshing in this age is it was just a meeting where people that really care about the community have dialogue about the community to talk about the issues. A lot of times we hear that phrase a lot, let's get out there and talk about the issues. But that group has been showing up for a long time to have that discussion, and I appreciate that greatly. That kind of patriotism towards your community when you're not getting paid, that's a big deal. And if nothing else in this community, we always have folks that show up, and that honors kind of the freedom that we have. Or in times like this where we're worried about the strangeness of many things, it's something to focus on and go, you know what, we can figure this out, or we can do it, or we need to work harder. So anyway, Happy New Year, friends. It's good to be back here doing the people's work with this leadership team.
Right, Councilor Wiltz.
Thank you. Wow. So people have already said a lot, and so I won't repeat all of the sentiments I share, including the hoo-hoo Hoosiers, as well as the more somber ones, and in the appreciation for the community meeting with us and just having discussions. And I just want to reiterate that is welcomed. I think every person on this council shares that viewpoint. We enjoy talking about the issues, or we wouldn't be here. So invitation there, I guess, to bend my ear if needed. And I need to say that we are still searching on the Monroe County Waste Reduction Board for members for our Citizens Advisory Council. It's actually a pretty interesting and low stress kind of position, but we would really like to add some folks. We have lots of openings, so don't be shy. We've just established a small grant program for waste reduction projects in the county, and the Citizens Advisory Commission will be reviewing applications for that. So it's kind of neat. Anyway, please, if you're interested, just go to Monroe County Waste Reduction Commission and go to the website, and you can apply right there for the CAC, Citizens Advisory Commission. And that's all I have.
Great.
So I go to many meetings and have been to 11 so far this calendar year, and I'm enjoying every one of them, and including BEDC, DBI, Monroe County Women's Commission, the Ferry Association. I've gotten myself involved in, and I'm glad I'm going to almost all, I think I've been to all of them actually, the Ellettsville-Richland Township potential discussion about what's going to happen out there. I live in Richland Township, so I have a vested interest, and I care about what's going to happen out there. It'll be interesting to see what does happen. There's a committee, and it's fully formed now. They have meetings, I think, the first Wednesday of the month. I went to the last one. Then I found myself involved in a Kirkwood Avenue meeting group, which I had just started recently in the last couple of months, and that's a group that is not my council appointment, but I do enjoy going. And there's one other elected official from the city there that goes, it's her district. So it's good to hear what the people are thinking on the ground in those areas when they get together and talk what their concerns are. There's probably going to be news kind of soon, I hope, about what's going to happen out at the airport. There may be some employment news out there, and things are moving along with that. I'm not at liberty to say a whole lot about it publicly yet, but it's quite interesting work, and I think it'll be really good for the community when it does happen. So that's it.
Thank you. All right. And to wrap up real quick, I wore red for a reason. And so I never would have thought in 25 years stepping on IU's campus in 2001 after the firing of Bobby Knight that I would sit here and say that the Hoosiers are in the national championship. Times have changed, but I'm just so grateful what they have, the energy that they've brought, and the economic vitality that has generated throughout our city and county by way of good football. So we appreciate that. Safe travels and go kick butt. The other thing that I wanted to say is if you are like me and had a real live Christmas tree this past year and are trying to figure out what to do with it instead of keeping it in your house or having the dog pick at it or throwing it out on your front lawn, the Waste Reduction District is collecting at the recycling centers. This is a personal reminder for me, but other people as well. Now through January 17th, which is just in a few days, that you can drop those live decorations like the wreaths and the Christmas trees for free. And you can go to the website and check out the different recycling centers for that. Lastly, as we do mention, January definitely is coming in like a lion, on a national level and on a state level too. But one of the lights that we have to remember is the fact that in addition to next Monday of it being a big day for our Bloomington community, there is the King holiday celebration that is happening. It's a day on, not a day off, and those that need to remember, his actual birthday is on January 15th, but we observe it every third Monday of every January, at least now, that we can still continue to do so. So I would just like to say that, again, remember King's legacy. Don't just repeat all the quotes that you have seen from King and go around and do the exact opposite of what he preached for. And again, there is a celebration at the Buzzkirk Trumley this Monday at 6 p.m. So you can dress in red and immediately leave after that is done to go celebrate. And the last thing I was going to say is I got invited to the North-South game by way of MCCSC, so I appreciate the superintendent, Dr. Marquet Winston, for that invitation. It was nice to get interaction with our local leaders on our superintendent level as well as our board leaders. And there were some other people that were there. I know the sheriff and team were there yesterday too, and go Panthers because they won. So without that being said, we bleed purple in our house. So without that being said, thank you again for council, and without nothing else, we are adjourned. Thank you.